And welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aikman. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning, and we have a very busy morning in store for you today. We're going to be talking with Jeff Plate, Horsehead native, but you may know him from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You probably just got done listening to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra not that long ago with their unique take on Christmas music. So we'll be talking to him a little bit later on. We got our first wave. You can contact me at any time during the program. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. I want to start with a quick statement from Congressman Nick Langworthy. Then we have a really good op-ed here by a congressman a little bit down the road, the 19th District, Mark Molinaro. We're going to get to that. Then we're going to look, of course, at the presidential race as we near New Hampshire. All of that and much more. A couple updates as well on the program. So let's start with a statement from Congressman Nick Langworthy. He introduced a bipartisan piece of legislation to provide workforce training in rural communities. He introduced a bipartisan creating access. I like how they do this. Creating access to rural employment and education for resilience and success, or, yes, the Careers Act, to address the skills gap and workforce shortage in rural communities. This legislation is co-led with Congresswoman Jill Tokuda, from Hawaii, saying about the bill, many businesses in rural areas like those I represent in Western New York and Southern Tier are facing a challenge in finding skilled workers, resulting in too many vacancies and too few applicants. The Careers Act aims to close the skills gap by investing in pathway training programs and creating meaningful partnerships with private sector stakeholders across sectors from manufacturing to healthcare. If enacted, this legislation will work to bolster rural economies and innovation, making them more competitive and sustainable well into the future. So I want to pass that along to you. As you know, it's a topic that comes up very frequently on this program about the need for people to join the workforce. How often have we talked about that? As a matter of fact, they have a lot of stakeholders that are quoted in this press release, one being Dr. William P. Mullaney, the president of SUNY Corning Community College, saying Corning Community College applauds Congressman Langworthy's introduction of the Careers Act as a vital step towards addressing the workforce challenges facing rural Americans. The Careers Act creates grant opportunities for institutions like ours to provide critical training skills to thousands of workers across the country in high-demand industries. It's good for American workers and good for the American economy. Many other stakeholders in this piece, but we appreciate the bill, the act, the Careers Act, and we appreciate the Congressman Nick Langworthy for passing that along. Okay, I mentioned another Congressman, Mark Molinaro. I know I'm going fast already. And look, 3 minutes in, and look how much we've accomplished and went over already. Mark Molinaro has an op-ed this morning at USA Today, We cannot allow upstate New York to feel overlooked and cheated. Stand up for our communities. It's sort of almost an announcement in a way that he's running for re-election at the end. We're not going to get to all of that, but I don't think too many people thought he wouldn't run for re-election. By the way, if you're saying, Mark Molinaro, I know that name. He was a gubernatorial candidate a few years back, ran against Governor Cuomo. But he says those in power lost touch and stop caring. Nowhere has this felt more than in upstate New York. Boy, is that ever true. A region in which people often feel overlooked, ignored, and cheated. And can you blame them? In upstate New York, big corporations dumped toxic waste and then left, taking jobs with them and leaving us to deal with the environmental and economic aftermath. New York State now leads the nation in population loss because families can't make ends meet. Individuals dealing with mental health and substance use face daunting journeys for quality treatment, and many in the disability community are unable to participate in the pursuit of happiness because of archaic barriers. Yes, the population loss is a good point. I would also add in there, a lot of it has to do, of course, as he mentions, the cost of living in upstate. And we talked about it so often with so many guests on this program. There's the cost of living, the lack of jobs, perhaps, just a fear of safety, as we talked about with the public safety issue. But I'll continue. Instead of taking on these issues, we see extreme politics in Albany and Washington create new ones with policies that may sound, quote, good in a vacuum, but never in the real world. Take Albany's bail reform, for example. New victims are created every day because dangerous criminals are set free. And that's what we talked about from really day one with bail reform, which is think of all the victims that did not need to be victims of crime because of this legislation. Or look at Washington, D.C., out of control, reckless spending, fueled inflation, jacking up the cost of nearly everything. Now the big box of cereal at Walmart is double the price and half the quantity. To make matters worse, New York City, the most resource city in the world, has started relocating migrants to underfunded communities in upstate New York, apparently deciding it no longer wants to be a sanctuary city. For most of these politicians, little to no thought is given to how these changes will actually impact the average worker. We have to rekindle a spirit of genuine connection, conviction, and advocacy. And that's where he makes his announcement that I'm running for re-election to continue listening, learning, and fighting for you. I thought that was a very good piece. There was more to it. You can find it at USA Today, but I actually found it on Empire Report if you want to click the link there. But that's 19th District Congressman Mark Molinaro. All right, let's take our first break. As I said, Jeff Plate's going to be coming up in a little bit. You know him from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Really look forward to chatting with him. That's in just a moment. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Start the new out with a bright new smile from Watkins Glen and Elmira Family Dentistry. Give them an hour of your time and they'll give you that bright smile you've always wanted. No light, no gimmicks, no wipes, and absolutely no application by yourself. Sit back and relax in one of their beautiful offices and let their licensed dental professionals apply the product for you. With their New Year special, every new whitening patient receives a free dental checkup if so desired.
Shell Missy face off in
Why can't we watch DuckTales? Because we don't learn anything.
Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
It's the battle of twins.
Life is so confusing. I always hoped it would be easier for me when I grew up. It's gonna be all right. You were faking. Bazinga.
Young Sheldon.
Weeknights at 6:30 on Big Fox.
Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. I'm your host, Frank Akam, and this is Frankly Speaking on Big Fox. I know, I'm already running late, but we want to cover a lot this morning, and we have our guest, Jeff Plate, coming up in just a moment. First is an update to something that I brought to you a couple of weeks ago. Fani Willis, the controversy surrounding Fani Willis. Well, Georgia Trump prosecutor Fani Willis faces a hearing on the alleged misconduct. Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis will appear for a February 15th hearing regarding allegations that she had an improper relationship with her lead prosecutor. Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee scheduled the hearing on Thursday, yesterday. Willis has spearheaded, the prosecution of former President Trump and his indictment on election interference charges. Court documents filed earlier this month say Willis hired special prosecutor Nathan Wade, her alleged romantic partner, to prosecute Trump and benefited financially from the relationship in the form of lavish vacations that the two went on using funds his firm received for working the case. Willis has not confirmed nor denied the claim, but she suggested she was being scrutinized because she was black. If you recall, that's the story I brought to you. She was speaking at the Big Bethel AME Church in Atlanta, saying they only attacked one. First thing they say, oh, she's going to play the race card now. But no, isn't them, no God, meaning because she was at the church, isn't them that's playing the race card when they only question one, was her quote at the time. So has not confirmed or denied, but we'll have that information for you as we find out on February the 15th. Another quick update Hunter Biden is going to sit for a closed-door deposition along with 5 associates. Hunter Biden will sit in a closed-door interview on February the 28th, along with 5 Biden family associates at various dates. That's what House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer and Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan announced yesterday. Now, it came kind of as a surprise. Last week, the chairman went through procedural hurdles to prepare for a House vote to hold Hunter in contempt of Congress for failing to sit for the deposition. Hunter proposed last week to sit for the deposition if Congress reissued a subpoena, arguing the prior subpoenas, quote, are legally invalid because the impeachment inquiry, quote, did not yet exist when the subpoenas were issued. So we'll keep a close eye on that one as well. Those are a couple quick updates before we get to, yes, one other update. Congress has passed, I'm sure you've heard by now, a short-term spending bill that averts a government shutdown. I'm not sure what this means for Mike Johnson. There's quite a few articles out today and quite a few commentators suggesting his days could be numbered as Speaker of the House. We may get into that. I don't want to dive too much into it. It's early yet. But let me try that again. We're obviously going to talk about the presidential election as well coming up in just a little bit. But we do have Jeff Plate on in just a second from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Also, James Carville. I don't know what James Carville's new thing is. You know who I'm talking about, the Raging Cajun. James Carville, he's cussing a lot, but he is predicting that there is going to be a lot of third-party votes. Now, as of right now, the only third-party votes I know of, well, I shouldn't say that. Is Jill Stein in? Because I don't know the answer to that. Is Jill Stein in because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. went to independent? And then you have Cornel West. Those are the 3, maybe 2 that I'm sure of. I'm not sure about Jill Stein. So, anyway, we got to take a short break because we have coming up Jeff Plate when we get back. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Looking for a certified pre-owned vehicle? Want a new vehicle? Visit Elm Chevrolet. Selling your vehicle? Elm Chevrolet will offer top dollar for your pre-owned vehicle. Only at Elm Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
The new Miracle Blade World Class 2012 Professional Series is the best set of knives you'll ever own. Flash forged blades to cut with precision. Unsurpassed quality, made with the highest standards of German stainless steel. These knives will stay razor sharp for a lifetime. Guaranteed versatility. There is a blade for every cut and every type of food.
What's so wonderful about these knives is that they rock. It's got this little handle right here that you can just really just get in here and just, slice right through these things and just like nothing. Look at that. This is a palm. Hey. You can't beat that price.
How could you not love great knives that are inexpensive? For the money, it's a no-brainer.
You want something that won't cut some ribs, baby? Oh yeah, big time. Ribs, roast, pork tenderloin, and topping.
Ordinary knife sets will cost you hundreds of dollars, but you won't even pay $100. The spectacular World Class 2012 series, over a $300 value for just $39.95.
Everything you see is still only $39.95.
Tony, that's a great price.
But we're just getting started. We'll send you a complete second set of Miracle Blades for free. That's right, another entire set, a $300 value for free. Just pay shipping and processing. And we're still not done. If you're one of the first 500 callers, we'll send you 2 additional Miracle Blade World Class Slicers. That's an additional $80 value, totally free. Miracle Blade World Class is also guaranteed for life. We'll replace any damaged knife at any time for any reason for free forever. Over $600 worth of knives for just one payment of $39.95. This offer will not last long. Don't miss this opportunity. Call right now or just log on to miracleblade.com.
Saturday on Fox, Tyler Kolek leads Marquette
For 3, down!
against St. John's. Then USC battles Arizona State.
Oh my goodness!
It all begins Saturday at noon Eastern.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. I'm so happy to talk with our next guest from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Jeff Plate. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Good morning, Frank.
We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. How long have you been with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Since it began, literally in 1996, and prior to that, I had joined a band called Sabotage.
Okay.
1994. Progressive metal band out of the Tampa area. Been around for several years. And their manager at the time, producer, songwriter, lyricist, was a man named Paul O'Neill.
Okay.
So I began working with Paul O'Neill and Sabotage and one of their founders, John Oliva, back in '94. We recorded an album. The first studio album that I did with Sabotage was called Dead Winter Dead.
Okay.
And on that album was Christmas Eve, Sarajevo 1224.
Oh, interesting.
So this was part of a concept story album that Paul had written about the war going on in Bosnia at the time. But so anyhow, here we are, this metal band with a Christmas song on our record. You know, a lot of us are scratching our heads and wondering, what's Paul thinking?
Yeah.
And he obviously could see a little bit further down the road than the rest of us because that song became an instant hit.
Yeah.
And this was the vehicle for Paul to create the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which Paul had this idea in his head for years prior to me even meeting him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a New York City guy, loved Broadway, loved theater, loved rock and roll, loved, metal and storytelling and all that kind of thing. And he wanted to create a project that just included all of that. And also something that was going to touch all musical genres, et cetera, et cetera. If you look back to some of the old Sabotage LPs, Gutter Ballet, Streets, and you can see some hints and hear some hints of TSO in Paul's writing on those albums. So,
interesting.
So he had this idea in his mind for quite a while. But anyhow, with the success of Christmas Eve Sarajevo, Paul, like I said, used this as the vehicle to create the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Yeah. We did our first album in 1996, which is Christmas Eve and Other Stories. And boom, the whole thing just kind of took off, and we were like, wow.
Could you ever imagine?
No, not initially. I mean, you really have no idea what's coming around the corner. And like I mentioned, Paul, very smart guy. I think he could see further down the road than the rest of us. But Christmas Eve, Sarajevo 1224 was one of those things that was, like I said, being on this album was kind of strange, to begin with.
Yeah.
But when you heard the song, there was no doubt, wow, this is awesome.
This works.
This is great.
Yeah.
And to think that it was going to be such a big hit in such a mover and a shaker in that Christmas genre, which had always been kind of safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then here comes this song, and bam.
Yeah.
So this set Paul up to create TSO, and like I said, 1996, all these years later, and that song is still the most popular song in our shows and the driving force behind what we do.
When do you start preparing for Christmas as a band to go out touring?
As a band, we get together and rehearse end of October, beginning of November.
Oh, okay.
So keep in mind, we've been doing this for a long time.
True.
And a lot of us have been here for a number of years. I've been here for every year, actually. Mm-hmm. So getting together to rehearse is kind of like riding a bike in some respects. There's a lot of, let's brush the dust off these things. Okay, let's fire it up. We're ready to go. Learn a couple new songs. The big part of our rehearsals is the production part. And for people that have seen our shows, I think they understand what I'm talking about. But you know what? Management and production are literally right now thinking about what is going on, what's going to happen for the next tour. So a lot of planning involved, a lot of building, a lot of testing, a lot of, there's a lot of work to be done all year round. But for my role, for the most part, it is, get done with a tour, take some time off. Next thing you know, it's September, I'm on the radio and talking to people like you promoting the tour.
Right. And I want to mention your project, Alta Rain, because is that your kind of escape from Christmas music so you can play music that's not just Christmas?
No, that really wasn't the thought behind it. Alta Rain was just something that, I've been doing this music thing for a long time. And I think for most of us, you always kind of dream about, hey, I want to do my own record. I want to write some songs. I want this, I want that. So several years ago, I figured, well, I need to do this if I'm going to do this. I'm not getting any younger. Got together with some local guys and said, hey, I have some ideas. let me present them and let's see what we can make of this. So Tommy Cook, guitarist and vocalist, he's from Sayre. I've known Tommy for 25 years. Kevin McCarthy lives right in Horseheads. I've known him since 1980. So, and then a couple other local guys, Colin Holloway on vocals and guitar, and Zach Hamilton on keyboards and vocals. Brought these guys all in, and the last person I brought in was a lady named Jane Mangini. She actually plays keyboards with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So she became the sixth member, and you know, this was a bucket list project. And when you get together with somebody and say, hey, I've got some ideas, you have no idea where it's going to go.
Oh, of course.
And these guys were great in taking my ideas and my thoughts and making sense of them. So All Terrain was something that really took off because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I've talked to so many people that have these side projects because what else do we have to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Myself and Tommy and Colin and Zach had a local band called Sunsonic.
Okay.
We were doing a bunch of 80s hair metal stuff.
Yeah.
Van Halen, Doc, and that kind of thing. Very talented guys. And when COVID came along, it's like, all right, well, we're not playing live anymore.
Right.
Let's get together, and I've got some ideas. Let's see what we can make of this. And one thing led to another.
So when the first album comes out, Mother's Day, did people think you were just trying to go through every holiday at that point?
Mother's Day is actually about Mother Earth.
Oh, okay.
That's the theme of that song. And it's interesting because years and years ago, I knew the name of this album if I ever made it.
Oh, interesting.
And I had the idea for the song going back 20, 25 years ago. I've been thinking about this stuff. So it took me a while to get it together, but it finally did. But no, Mother's Day is about Mother Earth. The name of the band, All Terrain, my mother's name is Alta.
Oh, interesting.
And I had the name of the album. I had the name of the song. I had several songs before I came up with the name of the band.
Oh, interesting.
And a friend of mine suggested to me, isn't your mother's name Alta? And I was like, yeah, Alta. Bing,
Perfect.
and then Rain came about, and just juggling that second word around and trying to figure out what makes sense, what fits the style of music that we're doing. Everybody in the band loved the name, so that's what we went with.
Do you find, because there is such a loyal fan base to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, that you get kind of a crossover?
Sure.
Yeah. Makes sense. Because, I mean, your fan base, like you mentioned, is phenomenal with Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
It is, and it is varied. I mean, when you come to a TSO show, you see all age groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the band itself covers so many different genres of music. Plus, I've been doing this from the very, very beginning, so, a lot of people have been following me for a long time. But, it's interesting. When I did this project, even though I've been in TSO all these years and Sabotage, and I played in Metal Church, and I've done all this kind of stuff, what the heck is an album by Jeff Blake going to sound like,
Yeah.
And Curiosity, I think, brought a lot of people along, just to check it out, and we had a great reaction from the first record. So when it come time, to start working on the second one, we knew we had something to build on. We had kind of set up a sound and a formula for what we were doing, and Upon the Horizon is the extension of that.
The newest album, Upon the Horizon. One thing that I want to ask you specifically, because the music is varied, but it's rock and roll at the heart of most of what you do. Mm-hmm. Was that your influence growing up?
So growing up, and I'm gonna date myself, but that's okay. I grew up in upstate New York, in Horseheads, up in the rural country. Mm-hmm. 3 television channels, country music, and an AM radio.
Yeah.
And that was it. So my parents were big country music fans, and that really was the style of music and the sound that I grew up on. But once I got a little bit older, my mother kind of pushed my sister and I, you need to try some instruments, let's see if you can. Drums obviously worked out for me. But, then all of a sudden, watching television and, oh, wow, American Bandstand, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then, the Soul Train.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, too. And then a little bit older and, wow, Midnight Special.
Yeah.
Okay, can I stay up late and watch that tonight? So the biggest influence, honestly, when I was young was country music. Because we watched Hee Haw every Saturday night.
Who didn't?
Roy Clark, Buck Owens, all those guys. fantastic musicians.
Oh, my goodness.
You know? But I think I was 12 years old, and I saw Chicago on television. And absolutely loved their sound and their music. Chicago 7 was the first album that I ever bought. And there's another band too. Obviously we had AM radio, so I was hearing Doobie Brothers, and I was hearing Elton John, and the Stones and stuff like that. Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Oh yeah, really underrated when you think about it. I mean, we know the one or two big hits they play constantly on the radio, but they're really an amazing band.
Hey, huge for their time.
Yeah,
Taking Care of Business, Let It Ride, Hey You, a lot of great stuff. But that was like the first rock band that really caught my ear.
Interesting.
So I had country music, I had Bachman Turner Overdrive, I had Chicago, and then in 1975 I see Kiss on the Midnight Special, and put me in another orbit, and here I am.
Isn't that funny? One thing I want to go just before we go, I wanted to bring up, because you were telling me this off the air, and I was shocked to hear this. I know that you guys have played all over and had amazing tours, but charity is such an important part of everything you do when it comes to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yes, absolutely.
It was amazing.
Paul O'Neill was a very, very generous, compassionate man, and he instituted this policy. We were going to donate $1 per ticket sold, every ticket that we sell, to a local charity. And usually the local radio station, the presenting radio station, chooses the charity.
Oh, isn't it?
So to date, we've donated close to $19 million, if not more.
Wow.
Our last tour, I know we had some really big donations come in from some other entities, and we donated close to $1 million in the last tour to local charities. So, it's just something really cool, and it's another thing that really helps connect TSO to our fan base, because it sounds so cliche. We cannot do what we do without them.
Of course.
And that person in the audience is actually helping somebody in their own community, maybe somebody that they even know. And like I said, that adds up quick.
Yes.
$19 million over all these years. That's really, really cool, and something we're all very, very proud of.
Oh, I'm sure. But back to All Terrain. Before we go, I'm going to do the Johnny Carson thing and hold up the album. So where can people find out more about the band and also the album and just about you in general?
Go to the All Terrain Facebook page. Go to Jeff Plate Music Facebook page.
Okay.
Rat Pack Records is our record label. You can go there, Rat Pack Records /All Terrain.
Okay.
Everything is available there. We are available on Amazon, all the digital formats, all the normal areas. You can, just type us in and you'll find us pretty easy.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for giving us so much time. And also, we look forward to seeing you with Trans-Siberian Orchestra around the Christmas season, as we just got out of the Christmas season. And we look forward to seeing more from All Terrain. So thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Our water's better tasting, it's better for the planet.
That's great, sir. Can I take your order?
Oh, number 3.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install our drinking water and softening systems, we're thinking about filtering contaminants and the minerals that make water hard. So you can just think about softer, cleaner, better tasting water. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Was your baby fed a cow's milk baby formula such as Similac or Enfamil? If so, your child may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Evidence shows that cow's milk formulas increase the risk of NEC in premature babies, causing severe harm and even death. If your child was born premature and suffers from NEC, intestinal perforations, sepsis, cerebral palsy, or died as a result, you may have the right to sue for significant financial compensation. Call now for a free case review.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. And In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. Thanks again to Jeff Plate for being our guest. I want to put a little bit of his information up here on the screen. There's where you can find out all about Alta Rain with where you can download their music. Also, there's the band. Good looking picture there. Find out more at ratpackrecords.com. And while I'm showing you this, I want to put this up as well. There's all the information you need to know. And I received this nice comment during our interview. Thank you for all the joy. This is obviously to Jeff. Thank you to all the joy TSO helps to bring, not only during the holiday season, but something that can bring happiness year-round. And doesn't that point, and that's a great message, doesn't that point to, at the end when we talked about the charity aspect, which I had no idea about. We were just chatting off the air, and it came up. That was really, really interesting to me, how much they've donated through the years. So thank you again to Jeff Plate for being on the program. Okay, so yesterday, how do I segue from a fun interview regarding music and Christmas music and to this? Congress passes, I'm not going to, I'm just going to do it. Congress passes short-term spending bill that averts a government shutdown. This is happening so often. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you've been following it closely. This one wasn't even all over the news. I think people are just used to it that, oh, yeah, it's been a couple months. Are we doing this again? Congress sent President Biden a short-term spending bill on Thursday that would avert a looming partial government shutdown and fund federal agencies into March. Oh, wow. Really leaving themselves a lot of time till March. The House approved the measure by a vote of 314 to 108 with opposition, and this is coming from the Associated Press, coming mostly from the more conservative members of the Republican conference. Shortly before the vote, the House Freedom Caucus announced it strongly opposes the measure because it would facilitate more spending than they support. Nevertheless, about half the Republicans joined the Democrats in passing the third stopgap funding measure in recent months. The third one in recent months. What I can't remember the number. I should have texted them, but former Congressman Joe Semplinsky, who was in office for 4 months, how many of these did he vote for? It was something like 3, something just wild. Or he voted against, but that came up for a vote. The action came a few hours after the Senate had voted overwhelmingly to pass the bill by a vote of 77 to 18. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson is under pressure from his right flank to scrap a $1.6 trillion budget price tag he reached with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer earlier this month. It's Groundhog's Day in the House. All the time, every day, yet again, spending money we don't have, said Chip Roy. Now, the Washington Examiner has 4 signs that Mike Johnson's days as Speaker could be numbered. Well, they're all pretty obvious. Marjorie Taylor Greene had made some threats. She began sounding the alarm on Johnson's removal last week, issuing her first threat to vacate the speakership if he struck a deal with the Democrats. Then you had Chip Roy's similar warning. This was last week, telling CNN he didn't prefer the option, but that he would be left with no choice. We're spending more money we don't have. It's just more of the same. And as you know, I wish Speaker Johnson wasn't doing this. I'm very disappointed, and hopefully we can try to figure out what we can do to change it in the next few days. It's like a quote that I saw from somebody. This was a hand he was dealt. I mean, we have such a slim majority in the House, getting slimmer by the day, it seems like. Representative Eli Crane's comments, as well as the third signal that his days could be numbered, Speaking with reporters, Crane toyed with the idea of removing Johnson, referring to the motion to vacate as a, quote, good tool. If things continue to go the way they're going, do I think that's a possible outcome? Absolutely. And finally, the general discord within House Republicans. Many House Republicans outside of the Freedom Caucus believe that Johnson is in, quote, way, way over his head and may be removed soon. Significant concerns growing about Mike's ability to jump to this level and deliver conservative wins, anonymous representative said. Growing feelings that he's in way, way over his head. As much as there was valid criticism and frustration with Kevin, Mike is struggling to grow into the job and is just getting rolled even more than McCarthy did. I don't know if McCarthy got rolled. What's interesting is McCarthy had kind of trained for that his whole life, wanted it very badly. Mike Johnson, as we know, this isn't a negative thing necessarily, but came out of nowhere. So unfortunately, that's probably something we'll be watching closely in the next few weeks or months. Okay, let's move on to presidential. And please feel free to weigh in anytime you see the number on the bottom of your screens. We've got a good, healthy wave count this morning. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments about Jeff Plate being on the program. People going down memory lane. That was really nice. And I really enjoyed that interview. And I got the great album out of it. Isn't that nice? So there's article after article about Nikki Haley as the media tries one last attempt, because New Hampshire, as this piece actually, weirdly enough, from France 24, saying it's a make or break bid for her in New Hampshire. That it's an uphill battle no matter any way you look at it, but you do have a very few here and there articles saying she can still do it. There's a lot of wishful thinking from the media. Her polling numbers, donations, and endorsements have surged in recent weeks, which is a good point. But her long-nurtured hope of a one-on-one battle with Trump was dealt a blow when she came in a distant third in Iowa. Yeah, that would have been the real deal-breaker if she had the chance to move forward. If Haley had a good showing in New Hampshire, it's going to shift the momentum, energy, and excitement behind her campaign going into South Carolina. That's what Haley backer and former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan said. Well, yeah, she would have to have a really good showing, but originally they were selling it as she was going to win New Hampshire, remember? Now it's kind of downplayed to a, well, if she does okay. Now, something to keep in mind, by the way, why this is very important, even though Trump had, 51% in Iowa, so you say, wow, that's such a decisive win. Did you know, though, that if he wins New Hampshire, no candidate has ever lost the race after claiming the first two states, meaning the nomination? This has made the Granite State the whole ball game for Haley, with fundraisers reportedly threatening to jump ship if she does not win outright. Just really quick, because I know I keep mentioning it, and I actually have article after article about this, which I don't want to dive too much in because I am running late. But even in this article by France 24, they mention the dog whistle, the racist dog whistle, which, again, I have had yet to have anybody explain to me why referring to a candidate by their first name, their given name, is a racist dog whistle. They say it draws attention to her heritage. Well, first of all, I mean, her heritage, rightfully so, comes up quite a bit in her speeches and in the media. So I'm not sure why bringing up her real first name, because I guess her middle name's Nikki, is a racist dog whistle. But I bet you I have 4 or 5 articles today that just mention it. And, of course, she was asked last night at the town hall. She did have that scene on town hall. We're going to get to that because we're not going to focus all on Nikki Haley. I have a lot about one thing about DeSantis and quite a bit of information about the former President Donald Trump. So stay with us. This is, Frankly Speaking, here on WYDC TV. Big Fox will be right back.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Stay tuned. This 5-piece bakeware set, a $60 value, absolutely free.
Tired of that pan that always sticks? It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before.
Gosh, what I love most about this design is this hammered copper look. It would just look so fantastic hanging in my kitchen.
Wow, this is a beautiful pan. It looks great. Look at those eggs dancing around in there. I tell you, I'm sold. Where do I get these? I love them.
Hammered pans are ultra non-stick. Nothing sticks. Even gooey mac and cheese slips out with ease. And look, these sticky candies melted with a torch are no match for hammered pans. Plus, they're super durable, so use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips out and a pan that looks just like new. They're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie, cheesy lasagna, or this whole chicken dinner. Any recipe looks great in these pans. From steak flambe to delicious desserts and delicate fish, nothing sticks. Plus, the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free.
Similar sets are over $1,000, but you won't pay that. Not $500 or even $300. Get the full 9-piece Gotham Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop 1 payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99, and we'll even guarantee it for a full 10 years. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. Together, these are an $80 value, yours 100% free. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or click now.
To order, call 1-800-603-3404 or go to buyhammered.com. That's 1-800-603-3404, or you can order online at buyhammered.com.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Frankly Speaking. Thank you for all the comments. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. We quickly have to take another break. I'm running really late this morning, but I had so much fun talking with Jeff Plate. But the takeaways from the CNN town hall, according to CNN, Hallie affirms her view that America has never been a racist country. I thought she handled this question very well. She said the intent was always to do the right thing. Now, did they have to go fix it along the way? Yes, but I don't think the intent was ever that we were going to be a racist country. She gave her own background and history dealing with racists, and it was just interesting the way she handled it, because you knew that was going to be a very big question. Hallie took on Trump and Biden, commenting essentially on their age and kind of the chaos is the term that she uses so often to describe Trump that he brings. She said, I want to bring people in the party because at the end of the day, we have to heal and unify as Americans. And then she responded, so this is just accepted that him using, meaning Trump, using her first name is a racist dog whistle. I would love to know what the over-under on that was a couple days ago on how many times that'd be mentioned. Because it literally, the headline right here, responding to Trump's racist dog whistles. She said, I know President Trump well. That's what he does when he feels threatened. That's what he does when he feels insecure. And there's a piece, we got to go. But Frida Gillis, at CNN, she said, why New Hampshire isn't Hallie's only shot to be the GOP candidate. And basically what it boils down to is if Trump, gets arrested or whatever case may be. But the whole piece goes on to say that she hasn't done enough to go after Trump, that she should be calling out Trump, that because she made a comment that she would pardon Trump. She did kind of preface it a little bit, but that she would pardon Trump, but that she would vote for him and that type of thing. So obviously Frida Gillis not happy with any of that. But at the end, it's not just a one-of-a-kind election because of Trump. It is also because of Hallie, who despite facing what might be the most flawed and certainly the most legally embattled rival in the history of U.S. democracy, she said she would vote for Trump even if he's convicted and would pardon him if she's elected. She can only hope the road ahead includes something legally slippery that takes Trump out of the race. Legally in parentheses. Something legally slippery that takes Trump out of the race. And more, I would say, projecting, hoping from the media. Hallie would pardon Trump under certain conditions. That's another takeaway from the town hall. And she focused a lot on foreign policy because of her time at the UN. We got to take another short break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking. We're moving fast on this Friday morning edition.
Treat yourself to comfort
comfort with Raymore and Flanagan's Rest and Relax sale. Save big on furniture that helps you unwind. Up to $700 off sofas, up to $1,200 off sectionals, and up to $200 off recliners. And discover the mattress of your dreams for as little as $15 per month with no deposit and no interest for 72 months. Our mattresses are in stock and ready for free next-day delivery and removal. Transform your home and relax in style at Raymore and Flanagan's Rest and Relax sale.
Is your closet cramped and cluttered? Is it impossible to find that shirt to wear and then even harder to fit it back in there? Not anymore. Introducing Space Triangles, the clever new hanging device that fits over any hanger to save you closet space in seconds. And now may be your last chance to get them for a low price. Now you can vertically hang multiple items, guaranteeing that you'll have up to 70% more space in your closet. Watch, your closet can go from messy to marvelous in no time with ease. And just look at all that extra space. Just place space triangles on each hanger and start hanging your clothing one after another, piece by piece. Daisy chain up to 6 shirts or more. The lower you go, the more closet space that'll show. The secret is the ingenious slip-over design that secures the hangers in a perfect vertical position.
This is hands down the easiest way to get more closet space. It took me just a few minutes to completely transform my closet, and now I can go shopping again.
It snugly fits all types of hangers, from plastic to wood to metal and velvet, and works with any type of clothing, from shirts and blouses to slacks and jeans, or designer dresses and big heavy suits. Stop searching through clutter for the right outfit. Now you can build an outfit and group it together so it's easy to find. Even hang purses, belts, and more. Just slide the space triangles onto any hanger and start hanging. You'll instantly create closet space like never before. Order now to get an 18-piece set of space triangles for just $9.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get space triangles at this low price. But you must act fast. There is a strict limit of 1 closet pack per order while supplies last. Once they're gone forever. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-957-1518. That's 1-800-957-1518. Call or visit spacetriangles.com. So call 1-800-957-1518. Order now.
Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street. This is Frankly Speaking. Thank you so much for joining us. So Ron DeSantis says his regret, he was on Hugh Hewitt's show, said his regret was his early strategy of avoiding media. It was really interesting at the time. I would also say the rollout was very poorly done. What was it on, like Twitter or something? I can't even remember. That it was disastrous with pauses and gaps and all of that. But he regrets his early campaign strategy of avoiding the media. And it is interesting because now look at it. He's been on CNN how many times the last couple weeks, and he's all over. He said, I came in not really doing as much media. I should have just done blanketing. I should have gone to all the corporate shows. Yeah, I think there was maybe within his campaign a level of cockiness because let's face it, how long had we been hearing that he was the heir apparent, so to speak, or the next in line, that this was going to be a shoo-in for him. He's so popular. And, you know, when you're surrounded kind of by people that say that, you maybe make some unwise decisions thinking that if I just go to friendly media, that's enough to get me over the finish line or at least get me what I need. And in this case, it clearly wasn't enough because a lot of people, it did leave a lot of people, myself included, where you didn't see a lot of Ron DeSantis in the early days. But he said, I should have gone on all the corporate shows. I should have gone on everything. I started doing that as we got to the end of the summer, and we did it. But we had an opportunity, I think, to come out of the gate and do that and reach a much broader folk. That's what we were putting it. But now I'm everywhere. I mean, I'll show up wherever. I'm committed to do the debate tonight. I'm the only one that's willing to debate. I've done that televised town hall. I go out and take questions from voters. You know, I think that's good. So that's Ron DeSantis' biggest regret. When we come back, Donald Trump, quote, totally convinced he'll win election amid his legal woes. He's already predicting a landslide. This is coming from sources telling page 6 of the New York Post. Trump's on top of the world right now. Everyone at his private club, Mar-a-Lago, is already treating him like he's the president in Florida. He's totally convinced he's on the path to winning the presidency again. He's very upbeat. He's elated. He's already predicting a landslide in the entire country to aides and friends. Even Haley's top surrogate, and this is a good point, Governor Chris Sununu, has started tempering expectations for her chances saying, "We always wanted to have a strong second," meaning in New Hampshire. "That's the only expectation we have ever laid out there." Now, if you recall, he previously said we're going to win New Hampshire. So expectations, setting the bar a little bit lower. Realizing that all these high bars that have been set, like Haley winning second in Iowa, just end up hurting her in the long run. Let's take another break. Wrapping things up here on Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Looks like y'all got a lot of stuff here in your water.
You're never gonna believe it, but this can filter up to 60 different contaminants from your water.
It's all about cleaner drinking water.
Dude, that's good water.
And that's good water.
Now that's good water.
That's good water, eh?
No matter where you live, there's a Culligan water expert nearby. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With this little device, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 1-800-929-7290. Again, that's 1-800-929-7290.
We are back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox. I received this comment. Should I throw my vote to RFK Jr. if Trump is so positive he has it wrapped up? Yeah. I always root for the underdog. Yes, I know. It's I don't care who the candidate is. I always say I'm someone that believes you don't want to jinx things, right? So if Trump's going around saying that, but again, it's an anonymous source, and I appreciate the comment from the viewer. Trump did urge the Supreme Court to reverse the Colorado ruling, saying there'll be chaos and bedlam if he's kept off the 2024 ballots. And to follow that, hundreds of top GOP lawmakers urged the Supreme Court to keep Trump on the ballot. Some 179 of the 269 Republicans in Congress signed on to the amicus brief backing the ex-commander-in-chief, saying, "In polarized times, it's easy to cast an opponent's rhetoric about the outcome of elections as encouraging others to obstruct the peaceful transfer of power." The lawmakers also argue that the ruling short-circuited the role of Congress. I don't want to get too much into wonkiness because we do have to take one more break before we wrap things up. But Ted Cruz and Steve Scalise led the brief for their respective chambers in Congress. McConnell, who signed on and has been kind of a back and forth with Trump, he signed on to it as well. Now here, just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, notable Republicans who declined to sign: Senators Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and none other than Mitt Romney, the same Mitt Romney that was begging to be, Secretary of State when Trump was in office. Just kind of interesting. It's hard to imagine an actual insurrectionist quickly asking for peace and encouraging disbandment. The GOP signed on to it. So we've got to take our last break. Then we're going to go through a lot quickly, but it's important still. So stay right there. This is Frankly Speaking.
Attention. This is an important message for firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters at military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown that chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was diagnosed with any of those cancers, call now for a free case review.
Football League have announced plans to merge.
A move that ensures spring football is here to stay.
This is an iconic moment.
With excitement from fans all across the country. Let's ball out, baby! This will bring together two of the best spring leagues we've ever seen. It's a win for football and for fans.
The United Football League has arrived.
There's no doubt spring just got stronger.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. We're wrapping things up as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. I'm your host, Frank Akam, receiving this comment. I still don't trust the media bias to allow a smooth road for Trump. Absolutely. All the so-called chaos has obviously been a massive attempt to keep him down. I'm afraid the anti-Trump crowd will get more desperate as time gets closer to the election. It is going to be interesting, speaking of the media avenue of that, because they are getting more desperate. Well, look at this. Trump is building his power at home while global leaders dread his return. What the media doesn't understand is many Trump voters see that global leaders dread his return, and they look at it and say, yes, that's one of the reasons that we're voting for him. They don't, but the media looks at that as a negative. Keep that in mind. But more to that, after Trump's big win in Iowa, liberal journalists are targeting the GOP's evangelical base. The mask is entirely off. We brought this to you yesterday where, was it Joy Reid who said we no longer can just ignore the voters in a way or not focus on them. We have to go after them as journalists. You're not supposed to just report anymore. You're supposed to go after the voters. And that's exactly what they did, questioning their Christianity, trying to paint Trump as some messianic figure. Really, I believe, unacceptable things. In the evangelical world, particularly in the charismatic world where Trump has a firm foothold, people believe they are waging a spiritual war against demonic enemies of Christianity in America. Other Republicans, including DeSantis, tried unsuccessfully to campaign on similar themes. And it goes through all of this. I was trying to find the one line that was really bad. Questioning essentially their faith. We don't have time to get to all of it. But the gloves are off when it comes to, and they were before. Don't be deceived. There was a lot of voters that were attacked at the time by the media or focused on, doxed, those type of things for supporting Trump. But the signal has been sent that it's okay to go after the individuals now, which is ironically another thing that we talk about so frequently on this that plays into, for lack of a better term, Trump's hands as someone who said, I'm taking this fight for you, right? And so now they're saying we're going to go after the voter. Very interesting. Eric Holder, you remember that name from the Obama administration, former attorney general, said American democracy could end with the election of Donald Trump. He was on Joy Reid's program. The irony of this is it seems like someone gave him the talking points probably 2 months too late, because he said essentially what we've heard over and over. I know it's going to be a broken record, but they're happy with or comfortable with the notion of autocracy, of dictatorship, as opposed to democracy. And people say, wait a minute, Holder is overstating the case. That is not overstating. You have to take them at their word and look at what it is that they are proposing and the impact of the policies that they will try to put in place. American democracy could end with the election of Donald Trump. A little late to the party, Eric Holder. James Carville says third-party candidate is going to get a lot of blanking votes. I'm not going to use the term. I couldn't use the term without getting kicked off the air. He said he's going to get a lot. And speaking of that, Andrew Yang, you remember that name? Andrew Yang ran for president. He endorsed Dean Phillips, Democrat Dean Phillips, who is still running against Biden for president, knocking Biden's age as reinvent grandpa. We are out of time for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. We were out of time. Thank you to Jeff Plate for being our guest. Find out more about Alta Rain. You can find it online. So I appreciate Jeff Plate being on the program. We have a busy week next week, so make sure you tune in every weekday morning starting at 7 for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Tired of that pan that always sticks, it's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before. Hammered pans are ultra non-stick and they're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie or this whole chicken dinner. Use metal beaters